Good evening. Good evening, guys. Back again. I just had a couple of issues earlier. It was just my microphone, but I think we're all good now. It's back again. Another live stream. Sorry, I did say I was meaning to do one yesterday, but other things got in the way, so I didn't have time. But here we are, back again. As I said, another day, another live stream. So it usually just takes a few minutes. It's just to get the numbers up. So I'll get the link sent out on Twitter. That usually brings in a few people. I was working on a video. It was the Richmond north of Richmond. I've done a little music video for that, so that's up there on my channel. Check that out. Fuck's sake, Karen. Nay, you. What you saying? Nay, me. Nay, you. uh, how you doing, Karen? Uh, I don't know. Did you follow the football much, Cara? Did you see the game earlier? Hibs got humped. 5-0. They lost to Aston Villa. Wasn't a good showing for Scottish football, that's for sure. There we go. Links out on Twitter. Yeah, 5-0. It was 5-0 Aston Villa, and they were playing at Hibs ground, Easter Road. I mean, a lot of people saying that Villa, because they really are a strong team, big budget, in the English Premier League. A lot of people are saying they could be favourites to even go and win the tournament. So, Hibs definitely had their work cut out for them. But yeah, good to be back doing this though. I think I've timed it quite well doing the live stream now, just after Matthew Steeples has done his. I know a few people that will come on my channel, like him, watch his stuff. Uh, hey Maureen, how are you? How are you doing this evening? Good evening to you. So this is going to be the topic. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world right now. It's the stuff with Lucy Letby. People are still talking about that. It's quite dark. There's the whole thing with the guy, the leader of the Wagner. It was a Wagner group. He had died. He's died in a plane crash, which does seem a little bit suspect after all the stuff that was going on about a month or so ago now with all that with him and Putin. So we can get into a few different things you want to talk about as this live stream goes on. But I'll start with getting into the stuff in topic though. And oh yeah, that's totally fine, Karen. No worries. Busy time now with the schools. Yeah, it's always around that mid-August time the schools go back, and yeah, I noticed it was weird because I was thinking, Kara's been a bit quiet, but no, I get that now, and that's totally fine. That's all good. Um, so with this stuff now, so with cancel culture. So I mean, this is the thing with cancel culture, right? You could say that there is some good with cancel culture, right? Because let's say if there wasn't quote unquote cancel culture, then would there have been the Me Too movement? Would Harvey Weinstein have got exposed? So with this stuff, and I'll get into this when it comes to the sheer hypocrisy, though. So you have Jennifer Aniston. We all know Jennifer Aniston, Hollywood. A-list actress. I just usually call her, Rachel from Friends, because that's mostly what she's always will be known for. Rachel from Friends. Okay, she's maybe had some okay-ish performances in some of the movies that she's done over the years, but that's how she'll be most remembered by people. So I mean, I know Jennifer. I find some of her personality. I mean, obviously, very attractive woman. I think that back in the day around 2000, you had Brad and Jen. That was known as that was the couple that was up on a pedestal. They were a lot of people. They might have been, were like the hottest couple in the world. But now with Jennifer Aniston, I mean, one thing I've always found her to be a little bit snooty. Um, I felt the Rachel character in Friends, and I did watch Friends, and I did like it. I did find her to be a bit of a bitch, but they do try and make her kind of likable, as obviously they do with all the characters. They had to kind of make them all likable and relatable. Um, but with Jennifer Aniston, though, I'm reading the Daily Mail here that Jennifer Aniston says she's over cancel culture and doesn't put everybody in the Harvey Weinstein basket after being labeled a Karen for throwing Jamie Foxx under the bus and anti-Semitic controversy. And this is a whole joke to begin with, anyway. That apparently what he had supposedly said was anti-Semitic. But good evening, Julio Cass. How are you, mate? I checked out you when you're on Penny Bunny on Friday evening. You did a really good job. I was impressed. Came off very well. Screwed Politics is screwing up Matthew's channel. He sabotages the chat. Oh yeah, you were saying about that the other day, weren't you? Yeah, just be done with them, you know. Matthew's a little bit of a funny one anyway. I've been kind of there's a couple of shorts videos I've got like with stuff with Matthew Steeple, stuff to do with him, the Aston family. Scandal, evening. Good to see you, mate. So yeah, so with this stuff with Jennifer Aniston. So I'm reading the Daily Mail here. So Jennifer Aniston has declared she is so over culture, and a Candid You interview just weeks after being branded a Karen for throwing Jamie Foxx under the bus amid his anti-Semitism storm, which is a joke. But so the friend, she's 54 now. She was slammed by some fans defending Fox on social media after he posted an angry Instagram post with allusions of anti Semitism, which appeared to have been liked by her own Instagram account. And I mean, this is so pathetic that they're trying to claim it's anti Semitic. The star quickly denounced and denied any connection to it. Speaking to the Wall Street Journal, Aniston weighed in on people cancelling famous figures for mistakes and said not everybody should be put in the same name basket as convicted sex offender Harvey Weinstein. She said, "I'm so over cancel culture. I probably just got cancelled by saying that. I just don't understand what it means. Is there no redemption? I don't know. I don't put everybody in the Harvey Weinstein basket." So, that on the surface seems pretty reasonable what she's saying. But the only thing is, though, she's talking about cancel culture and being over that. But she was the one, right? She was the one that said it publicly in an interview, probably went out of her way to say it. I don't even know if it was, the conversation was even steered in a way where, the reporter asked her the question on it. But she made it very clear, though, Jennifer Aniston, that she had cut off friendships with people that decided not to get the vaccine. So you think, well, that's awful judgmental, right? So you're in effect, right? You're canceling your friends because they're not getting the JAB, right? You've decided you're going to cancel your friends. So that's awful. I mean, that to all of a sudden just throw a friendship. It could be people that you've been friends with for years, just right out the window because they decided to not get an experimental JAB. It's pathetic. And I already commented this on this on Twitter, just the hypocrisy, and a few other people have caught on to it. You know, most people who use their brains will realize how ridiculous it is. Um, but I mean, she's trying to play the victim, claiming she was bullied over this and saying that she was called a liberal vaxhole. It's pretty pathetic, though, isn't it? And But this with this stuff though, so this with the whole Jamie Foxx thing, so they said the fans on Twitter had quickly slammed, or maybe it was on Instagram as well, quickly slammed her over her thoughts on cancel culture and claimed just 3 weeks ago she wanted Jamie Foxx cancelled. Someone wrote, "Isn't this the same Jennifer Aniston who cut ties with friends and family members because they didn't want to get a COVID vaccine, and the same Jennifer Aniston who tried to cancel Jamie Foxx a few weeks ago?" Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. With the and I'll just get into this with the whole stuff in a minute with Jamie Foxx. So, um, It's also in the interview, Aniston revealed that she had made moves to protect herself while meeting Harvey Weinstein years ago. She said, he's not a guy you're like, God, I can't hang out with Harvey. Never. You were actually like, oh, God, okay, suck it up. I remember actually he came to visit me on a movie to pitch me a movie. And I do remember consciously having a person stay in my trailer. So she was pretty smart, she's pretty clued up, good instincts, no doubt, you know. Um, Lanny, good evening. How are you? Yeah, that guy, Joecast, you put him right in his place. I mean, he's a bit of a far right racist idiot, isn't he? That guy that was on the Penny Bunny stream. Um, and what was with that wig the wig out of nowhere he's just put on? That was so bloody weird, wasn't it? Lanny, come one of our regulars. Good to see you on it. Um, well, they said that he was ill because a lot of people say it's because of the JAB, right? Um, and it didn't sound very good at all. Like a couple of months ago, it was almost like they were saying it was almost coming off like it was a very good chance that he might die. That's how it came off to me. Uh Juricast, do you think I was rude to him? No, I don't think you were rude. I think you were just being honest, right? You were just saying what was on your mind. You were just saying what a lot of people were thinking, but probably for whatever reason wouldn't have the guts to say. So I commend you for that. He was a bit of an idiot. Some of the stuff he was coming out with about what was it, the whole thing that like he wasn't sure about if we brought the death penalty back, that all of a sudden that Muslims would start taking things into their own hands and before they actually came to the death penalty. It was like weird shit like that. It was like, where is this coming from? It was like weird. Lanny, cancelling friends, but isn't this a slightly different thing? Cancelling is making a famous person non-famous infamous, like ostracizing them. Falling out with privately is a different thing. Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, Lenny, but in a sense, though, like if she decides to end a friendship with somebody, this is Jennifer Aniston. She's quite big in Hollywood, right? She's got a lot of clout. The people that are friends with Jennifer Aniston might really value her friendship, and then all of a sudden, that's it, thrown right out the freaking window because they've decided not to take the you know what. But I understand what you're saying. It's not entirely the same, but I just made that thing. I just said that tweet about, well, isn't it kind of hypocritical? And a few other people, have got a fairly big platform. They've called it the hypocrisy as well. Um, Aniston's dad is Greek. Yeah, he was an actor as well, wasn't he? Yeah, well, I don't know. There might be other particular reasons why Hollywood people look so youthful in their 50s. I've heard stuff to do with like JLo and Heidi Klum. Is there stuff like these theories about adrenochrome and all that? And that's a rabbit hole I haven't fully gone down yet, but maybe one day though I will. Lucy Letby thing wouldn't have happened in a private hospital. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I would say this much, Julia Cass. I had a breakdown one time and I was in a public hospital, and I probably felt I would have been more safer in a private hospital because some of the stuff that I saw that that people turned a blind eye to there in the NHS was quite but kind of disturbing. I saw a covered up culture there, not to the extent that or whatever we're trying to f with people, poison them, kill them, but there was definitely like, oh, let's just let this slide, bury our heads in the sand, wait till it goes away, kind of thing, though. Lanny, if I fell out with my brother and we aren't talking, I didn't cancel my brother. We fell out. Estrangement. Canceling is done by the media fame establishment. No, but the thing for me is though, I mean, even we can get into the whole thing is like or whatever, but I mean, to me, my whole point is with this thing with Jennifer Aniston, for flat out, I've always thought that she's a bit of a judgmental bitch, really. Um, okay, she might be a nice looking woman, but I still think she's a bit of a bitch. The Rachel character was a bit of a bitch as well. That was probably who she was. And I don't know, I just think that's very judgmental to decide to end friendships just because over one thing like that, which and they're trying to right. That's what they're saying, that this convid shit's coming back, and no one's buying it now, right? They've tried to push this shit out before. Sky News will push this out, push this crap out, and nobody's buying it anymore. You know, you've experienced this firsthand too, Julia Cast. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I even had something happen to me as well, Julia Cast, where I went in. I had an asthma attack, and the people around like took me in an ambulance. They were okay. They were fine. Took good care of me. But initially, it went from like you'll stay overnight till then an hour later that I can leave in a 2 or 3 hours. Probably came down to they had a shortage of beds, and it was a little bit a bit of a joke, like. But um, so yeah, so the stuff with Jamie Foxx and Aniston. So the interview comes after Aniston had disabled her Instagram comments after an account on her under her name, and she's also been exposed for liking these like anti Meghan Markle accounts on Instagram as well. She's liked a lot of their posts. So she hit the like button on a controversial post from Fox that has anti-Semitism, and it doesn't really. That's not the intention at all. Um, so this is what Jamie Foxx had tweeted. Right? They said that he said they killed this dude called Jesus. Right? What do you think they'll do to you? Followed by the hashtags fake friends and fake love. And that's what people are thinking is anti-Semitic. It's not anti-Semitic at all. At the end of the day, there's millions of people out there, and isn't it like 80% of America is Christian? When it comes to Christians, their faith in God, faith in Jesus, this isn't something these people take lightly. And this is more a Christ thing. This isn't a like screw the Jews kind of thing. And for the mainstream media to twist this, and for other idiots online to twist this and say it's anti-Semitic is just laughable. Fair enough. Like Kanye West said things that were straight up anti-Semitic. Attack him. You had it coming, right? But to make out like this guy is anti-Semitic for making this analogy of of everyone that turned on Jesus and didn't believe he was the son of God, trying to claim that we're anti-Semitic when we make this analogy about, well, if people turned on Jesus, imagine what they'll do. And that's what they're trying to say is anti-Semitic now. And I've never seen that before, because I've seen people make that comparison before, right? Like maybe, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. But no one had the daggers out for them back then. So this lets you know that all this bullshit woke PC sensitivity crap, it's getting worse by the day. It really is. You got them take care of you at home, Julie Cass, right? Yeah, I mean, this guy just doesn't have a clue, Julie Cass. You're probably better off not engaging with him, because he's probably just is anything you say is going to go in one ear and out the other. Yeah. That's weird, Maureen. I mean, are you using your laptop to look at this? Or are you on your tablet, mobile? Oh, you're speaking about Jared Kushner, aren't you, Lanny? Well, I think it was more than just that. I mean, to be fair, Lanny's comments on Jared Kushner, sorry, Kanye's comments on Jared Kushner, I thought there was a lot of truth to that. That Jared Kushner probably all these peace treaties that were done, there was more to it than met the eye. It was about money. I mean, seemed a fairly reasonable thing to suggest, right? Um, but then all of a sudden, all the stuff about the tweets about DEFCON 3 and Jewish, and then getting into all the Hitler stuff. Funnily enough, it was on my birthday, the day that he went on that Alex Jones show and did the whole, "Oh, Hitler's a good man. Hitler was a good man," and I love Hitler and all that shit, and he was just really unwell, but I think he's got lawsuits coming out the ass as well, Lenny. I mean, at one point, he said he had about 120 million pounds in his bank account, right? All of a sudden now, he's saying all that stuff about DEFCON 3 and that. Lose the Yeezy thing, lose Adidas, Gap. So I don't know if he could be he could end up in debt soon. You never know. I hope for him that's not the case. For me though, with Kanye, I mean, I still listen to songs here and there, but I mean, he really, for me, it would be you do a sit down apology and you apologize for that Hitler stuff. You need to be very clear that you to, that you're sorry for what you said. Are you having that problem too, Lanny? It's freezing with you. Ah, shit. But this whole bullshit claiming it's anti-Semitic, so they get into all this stuff about, calling it an offensive post, but they've missed the point of the message, and they're missing the point on purpose. Centuries, Jews have been blamed for the death of Jesus and the alleged. Oh, me, I'm just sick of this bullshit. It's getting worse, isn't it? You know, and it's not even so much like a Christian thing because I was raised Catholic, but it's just all this wokeness and all this bullshit. And I guarantee most Jewish people probably aren't offended by it. There's a guy here, he might be in the showbiz world, Adam Weitzman. I know you personally, I'm Jewish, and know you're the last person that ever would be anti-Semitic. You're kind and fault to everyone. I would vouch for you always. This guy knows he wasn't being anti-Semitic. And most decent thinking, reasonable people will know that as well. Kanye is a tosspot. Well, he has become a bit of a tosspot, but it's interesting though, Scandal. If you saw the interview he did on Tucker Carlson, I mean, okay, Kanye was a bit out there with his ego, but he seemed to be very calm, quite eloquent, made some good points. And then 2 months later, he comes on Alex Jones and he does "I Love Hitler." Very weird. And I have a couple of theories on this stuff, like with him, and I just wonder if there's maybe a whole conspiracy theory behind that. Maybe he was put up to saying things like this. People have dirt on him, but that's maybe going to be a video for another day. Cara, you're on Android, working fine for you. Yeah, Julius, I think I know the guy that you're on about. Yeah. Penny didn't seem to like him at all, right? I thought some of the points he made were okay, but the energy there and Penny. You're talking about Kanye, right? Well, some of the stuff that Kanye wears, Maureen, is a bit strange, is it? The was it like those padded on the shoulders, like the pads, some weird shit. And I like it. I like his music. I'm not big on the fashion shit, but got a tattoo, Lenny. God, yeah, that's horrific, isn't it? Gee. Yeah, I mean, they seem to all be a bit unsure about you at first, didn't they? I mean, Penny might have not known who you were. I mean, she has got 20,000 subscribers, but you think though, if you're a regular on there and have left comments in the chat, she probably would have known that name. But just that guy though with the bloody wig though, Julie? That was, uh, can't get over that. But yeah, so Jennifer Aniston was stuff then. So she liked the post that he had put on Instagram, Jamie Foxx. And she said that I did not like this post on purpose or by accident. And more importantly, I want to be clear to my friends and anyone hurt by this showing up in on their feeds. I do not support any form of anti-Semitism. And truly, I don't tolerate hate, capital letters of any kind. Period. And yeah, so it wasn't anti-Semitic, really. I'm sure, Jennifer Aniston deep down knows that he wasn't trying to be anti-Semitic, but people just get their panties in a bunch about over anything these days. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I know that on the live stream Duocast, there was a couple of people, wasn't there? There was one woman, I think it was an American woman. She might have been on the same time I was. She didn't have her camera on, and there was maybe another woman as well, a younger girl. Maybe I'll go back on one day. But Kanye West had 3 kids with Kim Kardashian, famous for being famous, from a show that was just blackish rubbish. What substance? Kanye Zero. Well, I mean, look, Lanny, I would say I like a lot of his music. As a rapper, he's quite good. He has some pretty good bars that can be thought provoking, can be witty. He's a very good producer. Some would say he's a much better producer. A lot better, really good beats, soulful. A lot of good classic samples, some songs from the 70s, the 80s. Uh, so I'm very much into his music, and I would say he's creative and he has substance, but he obviously has a lot of issues. Big bloody ego. It goes into narcissism. Um, but there's times where when you hear him talking, you think, wow, he's a real thoughtful guy. Like he means well at his core. But then it just all this other egotistical shit, and then ultimately offensive shit because he does have problems there. He's not there like the mental. He has mental health problems, but I think the problem with Kanye is he doesn't want to admit that he has a problem. It comes down to people. Um, people have it in for him. And it's the whole thing. Oh, the Jews are out to get me. My Jewish doctor want to medicate the crap out of me and all. But then I'm sure there are people there though that actually do generally do care for him and want to help him get better. Yeah, yeah, the song with Estelle, yeah. Yeah, dress smart like a London bloke. Before he speak, his suit bespoke. It you thought he was cute before. Look at this peak coat. Tell him he's broke, yo. That was quite a good one. Kanye West will have to deal with mortality like all of us. If we're lucky, we get older and crankier, and hopefully Mellow enjoys certain parts of life. Life goes fast. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, maybe one of the main things that fucked it up for him and Kim was COVID. I think COVID fucked things up for a lot of people with lockdowns. It wasn't just with mental health and people even with depression, suicides. That fucked up a lot of relationships. Um, he was on the campaign trail. It was all this pro-abortion, no, sorry, anti-abortion talk. And I think then a day or two later, you hear stories, TMZ, Kim speaking to the divorce lawyers. I think that was the beginning of the end when he was so against abortion, speaking out about that. That's how I see it, how I saw it. Yeah, I like this stuff from about 2004, 2009, Maureen. A lot of divorces in Japan. Probably, I mean, all around the world though, Lanny. Someone passed away, very sad. Terry Funk. Have you guys heard of Terry Funk? A wrestler, and he had done acting as well. There was a film, I believe it was Roadhouse in the late 80s. Classic. There was that line, was it the character expect the unexpected? He was known as one of the real tough guys though in the business, like wrestling. Yeah, I mean that's maybe. I mean you hear so many stories about people in Hollywood and rich famous people who are depressed on medication. It doesn't buy you happiness. Well, I mean, look, like I mean, I don't know. I mean, not everybody's. Some people have had it worse than others. That they've the chance. Their parents didn't have money to go holidays abroad once a year or twice a year when they were younger. I didn't come from money. I've been abroad once in my life. But yeah, Terry Funk passed away, Lenny. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was still wrestling. I think even up to like his in his 70s, and Mhm. But what is this bloody variant that they're saying about Convid? What's the variant called again? Trying to push this on us again, though. But let's not fall for it this time, though. Is it every Friday, Joey Castro, that Penny Bunny does one? A call in? Maybe one day I'll go on. I'll see how I feel. Yeah, I think so. I don't think he saved his money. Or maybe he did, but he just really loved wrestling. He loved it so much. He was a bit before my time, Lanny, but some of those crazy matches I saw from ECW, they were quite fun to watch. I don't know if you ever saw there was a match that Terry Funk had and him and Tommy Dreamer against Mick Foley and Edge. Does that ring a bell? Crowd were chanting, "This is awesome." There was barbed wire. I think oh yeah, Mick Foley got hit by Funk with barbed wire, and then he ended up getting set on fire. Some crazy shit, like yeah, the Bushwhackers, legendary from New Zealand, right? Oh yeah, yeah. I think him and Stone Cold, Terry Funk and Austin, Lanny. It was like a shotgun Saturday night in '97, and like Terry Funk was like, he was like straight up to like Austin, "Hey man, let's go." Let's like almost like it became like a shoot. And like even though at that time Austin's like supposed to be known as like the toughest SOB, you know, Terry Funk isn't really his equal. I mean, okay, he's a legend, right? But it was Terry Funk maybe going into business for himself a little bit, but I guess because Austin probably respected Funk so much because he's Texas guy as well that he probably didn't have a problem with it. But uh, he had a weird gimmick as well. Was it like Chainsaw Charlie or something? He came out with a bloody chainsaw. And he had like was like fucking pantyhose over his head. Some weird shit, right? The Sandman, yeah, he came out to enter Sandman. You never got to hear it on the DVDs though, eh, Lanny? Because the license to with the song Metallica. There's actually a wrestler called Titus, Lanny. He was called Brodus Clay in WWE, and he's saying that he had said this thing that was it's a bit controversial, I suppose, but he said that if his kids came home from school and started like he, him, she, her pronouns, he would whip their ass. Like he said it in a joking way, but this is a little bit controversial though what he was saying though. Obviously, in today's world, it would be seen as quite controversial, but he didn't mean it. He didn't actually literally mean that. He was joking, but yeah, a lot of them. That was the sad thing about that time, wasn't it? Even though it was a great entertaining era. Just 1 second, guys. I'll be 36. Just got to check on someone. That guys, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, but the nineties though, the nineties. Obviously, I mean, you had Owen Hart, right? Owen Hart. What happened to him? That was horrific. I mean, that was one case of somebody that was just a bloody horrific. It was a tragedy. What happened with the whole thing? What was it? That silly gimmick, the blue blazer, when he came down from the rafters and harness broke, and I mean, goodness me, just like that would have been too horrific. I mean, imagine if that had actually been caught on camera. I mean, if the WF camera people had actually caught that in film, that would have been bloody hell. Like, yeah, but I think she feels really bad though about the WWE, right? I think she worked with them briefly, right? But like, she doesn't want Owen Hart being in their Hall of Fame, and yeah, it was what Titus said was a facetious way, but still, though, you still have to be careful how you word things like that. But this he works for a company, right? This company, the Smashing Pumpkins frontman, he owns the company, NWA, Billy Corgan, he owns it. So I think Billy Corgan seems to be really high on him. He's their champion, so I think he'll protect them from any potential cancellation. AEW, Lanny, I don't know. Do you watch All Elite Wrestling? They have something going on right now. Well, they did. It was a Owen Hart tournament. It was called the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament. There's a men's one and there's a women's one. I'll get that clip up, Lenny, though, with Titus. Let me see what people I think are taking it. Well, I don't want to say taking it out of context, but basically, this is what he said. Quote: "If my kids came home and said, 'Daddy, my pronouns is this, and this,' my pronoun would be ass whooping." Hmm. And Lance Storm, I don't know if you remember Lance Storm. He said, "Let me put this politely as I can. Fuck this guy, a little rainbow." It's like, gee. I don't particularly like him, but he comes off a bit of a dick to me. But yeah, Lance Storm, he was in WCW. Is it? No, no. I think what it was, Lenny, at the Over the Edge pay per view, he did a promo, an interview before he was to come out. And the way it was is that they were doing like showing a video, like like your entrance, like the entrance you would have on the Titantron. They showed that. That's what the audience at home saw, but they didn't actually see it though. It wasn't filmed like him at the top falling. I don't believe that was filmed. Um, there's like a Spanish commentary, and you hear one of the guys like reacting, like, "Oh, like, what, gee, like, this something like out there with that." Um, but it's pretty bad. I mean, when you hear them, like, I don't know if the people might have thought it was an angle, right? The fans, because I believe it was pitch black when he fell, so I don't think the fans realized that. Some of them might have thought it was an angle, right? And didn't realize how serious this was, and it wasn't part of the show. But just seeing like Jerry Lawler, he was there, and how upset he looked. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It wasn't not good to watch. Yeah, John Morrison, Great Khali, Jinder Mahal, Brodus Clay. I think, well, Titus is in that. He's called Titus now. Brodus Clay, John Morrison. He still wrestles here and there. I think Great Khali's retired, and Jinder Mahal, yeah, he's still in the WWE though. Yeah, yeah, but Terry Funk though, he was so he's 79, passed away. He was one of the legends in the business though, for sure. Yeah, this is not a wrestling angle. I remember him saying that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hadn't even watched wrestling at that point, Lanny. I didn't watch it until about 2000, and so that was around the time Rock, Triple H, uh, Kurt Angle, Ben Law, Jericho. It was a pretty good time back then, to be fair. But this company, Lanny, all wrestling, they're selling at Wembley this week. They're selling at Wembley Stadium. That was 31 years ago. It was WWF. They sold out Wembley for SummerSlam. Jinder Mahal looked very roided up on drugs. Yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say he's top tier Drew McIntyre. He's kind of like mid card level now. Uh, he's got a little bit kind of stale. Yeah, he won it just as the pandemic hit. He won the belt. Yeah, but this new company, All Elite Wrestling, Lanny. I don't know if you follow them. It's the guy who owns Fulham, Shadid Khan. He owns it, and his son Tony runs the company. And so they've only been around for 4 years now, and they've sold out Wembley Stadium. I think pretty much sold it out. About 80,000 people are going to be there. So that is give them their due. Very impressive. I don't think Billy Corgan's invited to that. He's just doing his own thing, NWA. Uh, no, I think they're still around actually. They're kind of a shell of what they used to be. They once were though. Um, Impact. I don't think anybody really watches Impact anymore. I think you've got that guy, one of the boys, Billy Ray's there, and Tommy Dreamer, but not very few people are following that show though. Sure. Oh yeah, yeah, Hannibal TV. That's quite good for that. Yeah, can be a lot of bitter, disgruntled wrestlers, but some of it can be a bit entertaining though. Your life gonna change right now. Your life gonna change right now. I'll have to start doing a wrestling podcast, Lenny. We've chatted a lot now about wrestling. Don't know if our listeners are wrestling fans, but if you see my channel, Lenny, I do have the occasional video on stuff with WWE and AEW. Yeah, so there'll be Wembley Stadium this Sunday. I'll probably go out of my way to watch it live, see what it's like. Um, just wonder what it'll be on. ITV will be airing it. Yeah, I know, Lanny. I know Montreal Screwjob and all that. Is it real? Is it fake? Theory on the whole Montreal Screwjob. Do you think it was a work or do you think it was a shoot? Maury, Giant Haystack's Big Daddy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, from my dad. I mean, my dad wasn't a huge fan, right, Maureen, but when he was a kid, he watched Mick McManus and Jackie Powell, and that was a big deal back then. I think back in the '60s, they would draw there'd be the big match, and I think it would be like either would it be just before the FA Cup or after it, and they would have that big fight. Um, I think the majority of the time, Mick McManus beat the shit out of Jackie Powell, right? I think Powell only ever won one of the fights. I think wasn't planned. Yeah, yeah. Some people have the theory that it was a work, Lenny. I mean, uh, with the Wrestling with Shadows documentary, some people might say the camera was in the right place at the right time with that. Um, the whole WCW thing and trashing the announce table, that might have seemed like a bit of there'd be a work element to that, but I don't know. local theater, weekend show. Yeah, and it was quite popular back then. I think at that point, rest could some of them, the top guys, could make a living doing it. It wasn't like they were part-time guys. Uh, do you ever hear the stories, Maureen? I don't know. Did they, your dad, like, was it that thing like the wrestlers, the good guys and the bad guys, they would still get together after the show and go for a drink? Did you ever hear stories or? Oh yeah, British pop. What was it called? Was it what was it called? Was it the guy Ken Dalton or Walton was the commentator? Uh, it was World of Sport, wasn't it? ITV World of Sport. That's the one. Slightest bit of sympathy. I mean, maybe in a way, Lenny. He had lost his close friend, Eddie Guerrero. Um, they said he had a brain of a 90-year-old Alzheimer's patient. Would it have been, initially I thought, oh, he's a piece of shit, he's a monster, but I've maybe, as time's gone on, have more sympathy a little bit for him, the human being, because when you think about this before this tragedy happened, Lenny, think of all the people that said what a great guy that he was, right? Crispin Law, a man's man, one of the nicest people, give the shirt off his back to you. I just don't know. I mean, just the whole thing of killing his kid, you know, a 7-year-old kid. I mean, you can't rationalize it, the killing the wife of the kid. You can't really rationalize it, but it's like, let's say if it was his wife and she had cheated on him, right? It would be like, well, in a way, I get that in a sense, but I still don't condone it. But then at the same time, it's like, well, if somebody screwed you over, let's say your wife's in an affair with some other guy, well, go for him, But taking it out on the kid, that's just fucking horrific. Goodies and baddies were good, all good friends, just entertainment. Right, right, yeah. But there is a thing called Maureen in wrestling. It's called kayfabe, and kayfabe is kind of like protect the business. It would be kind of like to explain it like this. It would be like like you say, like a magician will never reveal its tricks. It's that kind of thing where you talk in a certain way in certain terms that for people that are outside of the business, they won't get it. They won't know. They won't be clued up on it. And a lot of the times with kayfabe, it would be that thing of, well, the good guys and the bad guys, they wouldn't be seen out in public, you know? Just that thing of like, I don't know. I mean, you could say, I mean, it is like old school. They call it carny thing, but um, a lot of time people probably saw it as just protecting the characters, their mystique, And yeah, Lenny, you have to come on and do a wrestling podcast with me sometime, mate. Some people are actually saying that Edge is going to go to AEW. He might show up at Wembley. Edge apparently had his last match last Friday on SmackDown. He beat Sheamus. That's the Irish guy, Lenny. That's the guy with ginger hair and very white complexion, even whiter than me. Law lost it, so tragic. Nazi woman, yeah, she was in ECW. She was a valet for the Sandman. No, I know it's not real, Maureen, but it's just that kind of thing. Again, it's just old school wrestling. It's just protecting your character. I know it's so much different, right? Because it's not like in EastEnders, right? They would say, let's say it's Stacey Slater. She hates Janine at the time. It's not like they're going to say to the actress that plays Stacey, "You can't be seen with Janine in public," right? Like I get where you're coming from, Woody, but it is just a little bit different in the wrestling world. Lanny could vouch. Lanny could attest to that as well. All right, fella. Yeah, yeah. God, he's still around. He's still around after bloody 14 years. Lanny, still around. Apparently, he's been getting some rave reviews though on his work as well. He can still go. And is it Trump's going to get arrested? Right? I think his old lawyer Giuliani is. He's been arrested. I think he just had his mugshot released. Stacey Slater's on OnlyFans now. Things are right on the pot. Oh yeah, what a shit. Because they just want to be super woke and super inclusive with the storylines. I mean, if they pull the plug in EastEnders in, let's say, 4 or 5 years, surprise me. It would not surprise me. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to wrap this live stream up in just a couple of minutes. So, if there's any of our last minutes or questions, just fire it away now. CNN, they're wanting us to break out the masks against you know what. Surprise, surprise. Soaps are just in decline. Yeah, probably so. There's just so many options these days, Lanny, isn't there? With streaming services and all the different channels you can get. Long gone are the days of the 4 or 5 channels, eh? And you would be able to watch each soap. First you would watch. I mean, Christ, think of all the soaps you used to have back in the day. Brookside, even bloody Family Affairs was even one. I know it was kind of shit, but mm. Reza Ramon, say hello to the bad guy. Yeah, yeah, it was a pretty cool gimmick, wasn't it? I mean, it was a rip off of Tony Montana, but yeah. Uh, he cheated death a lot of times, though, didn't he, Scott Hall? He really did cheat death. I might say it was surprising he didn't pass away, 10, 11 years ago. Uh, I mean, he had a lot of demons, that man. Spoilers, yeah, but they give it all away on the bloody magazines. And then it's like they'll do a who done it, and then that's the only time you generally don't know what's going to happen. Who's killed who, you know? Okay, guys, so I think I'm just going to start wrapping this live stream up now. So I want to just thank everybody who came on this evening. So tomorrow, maybe I'll do one, maybe I won't. I'll see how things end up. But I do appreciate everybody who came on the live stream. It was good to have a nice chat with everybody. Alfie Moon, when he started just losing his shit and going in on Stacey and Cat, right? Or one of the other Slaters. I do remember it though. I do remember that. Yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks, Lenny. Anytime, anytime. So thanks very much for everybody who joined. So I might be on tomorrow, I might not. But I'll see you, and I'll try maybe do it earlier, around 8 to 9 o'clock, the live stream. So thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Take care. Bye.